ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Yes, we're back from our little mini hiatus. We're back reviewing a One Piece manga. We got my man Jazz and Verse in the building. I'll start with you, Jazz. Jazz, how you doing? Look, we're on a month break with Oda, so we got a lot of videos to make in between some theory things.
Hey man, you know me. I love theory crafting. I love slander.
No, I
Everything
know.
is gonna be content for a while, but real talk right now. You know what I'm saying? I hope he has a speedy recovery. And I know
he's okay though.
That,
it's not like
It's
Tagashi where it's
elective.
like he can't do anything.
And I heard the surgery's like pretty it's very 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 very.
Oh yeah, it's not a bad. Yeah, it's not a hard.
You know what I'm saying? He'll be straight, but I hope he like takes the rest of the month to just like rest, like literally.
Yeah,
it's like, bro, just chill out, man.
Relax and be safe. But in the meantime, I'm just letting y'all know some theory videos. Like, got to do a Gorosei one after these chapters, and then I think we'll introduce Homie Court while we're on the month break, and we can take Mihawk to court. Jazz can be the prosecutor. I'll be the defense. And we'll have some judges in there versus probably some other people, jury, and they can decide based on the evidence Jazz presents. All right, but also join us, Verson. Verson, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. And as for big man Oda, I just want to say, if the doctor insists on bringing his horse into the surgery room, don't let that motherfucker in. We don't need no Doc Hugh cosplayers working on this man's eyes. But other than that, I'm good. I got real worried, as I'm sure everyone did when the announcement happened.
Or if the fucking doctor looks
like, thank God.
Or if the doctor looks like a Orochimaru, run, because that nigga trying to take your eyes. Run. Or final doctor. Actually, two more. If one of the doctors looks like a nigga with some bifocals that's short with a little mustache, run, because that nigga trying to take your writing ability, your writing quirk, get out of there. Or if the nigga has a weird Caesar that it's a white guy with blonde hair and glasses, and he looks very like creepy with with a shirt and then like a green open button down, run away because he's trying to turn you into a dog, human person. That guy's evil.
Yeah. By the way, just as a side note, I was watching Marineford with my partner, like I mentioned to y'all. Buggy is one of the smartest guys around, because whenever Law pulls up in the fucking submarine and he's like, "I'm a doctor, I'll save him," Buggy's like, "Where's your credentials? What school? You don't look like a fucking doctor to me. What the fuck's that ship?"
He really said, "Do you have a PhD?"
He's like, "Are you accredited?"
You know what? We're gonna bring Mihawk to Homie Court, and I'm bringing Buggy to Homie Court, and I'm gonna be the fucking prosecution. Y'all gonna have to defend that clown ass nigga. God.
Trust.
Buggy already paid off the jury. Buggy already paid off the jury.
I'm ready. I'm ready to bring him. But we're gonna be here today giving y'all basically this is chapter 186's review. But since we didn't talk about 185 and I guess 184, even though not 184 is a lead up to 185, there's certain parts that these two niggas want to talk about, like Psy and little Tontada nigga. So we gonna get to those little jabrones. But real quick, how do y'all feel about the chapter where it left off before our month break?
Okay. So there's so much set up into, relating back to Egghead, because at the end of the day, all this relates back to Egghead.
Yeah, the incident that's going to happen.
But at the same time, with that last panel we got with bro, I'm it's I know it's a flashback, but it's like we're still being introduced to new characters.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't really have a problem with it, but I just hope our main cast get their shine. And by main cast, I mean Usopp. You know what I mean? I don't think the Holy Knights or the God Knights, no, they're called God Knights. I don't think like the God Knights are gonna sideline any of the main cast, but like that does tend to happen. Like when you start introducing more people, now you have to build them up.
Yeah.
But then you don't have as much time like with the characters.
Y'all wanna go to LBAP? You remember my original thing like months ago is if we don't go, like I wouldn't be shocked. Like I want to go, But if we don't go, I wouldn't be
We
shocked.
can't possibly
I
not
know.
go.
Look, I know
Oda is gonna slow roll this bitch.
I know what everybody says. Just know Lennon said it months ago. If it doesn't happen, and that doesn't mean I don't want to go. But to Jazz's point, that was just my little comment to that. But first, how you feel about where we are leading up to the month break?
I think it was a hell of a run, up till now to like leave us on, I like that's the thing that I think people can appreciate about the whole like month break thing is like Oda obviously planned it so he knew which chapter he was going to leave us with before he had to like peace out for a bit. So I'm not saying that he like based the chapter around it, but also he wasn't going to like do an eye surgery out of nowhere and then like not give us some gas,
leave us on some nothingness,
and make sure that we had something. Make us have to chew on it for like a month.
Like if he'd have left us, like let's just say if we stretched out Egghead a little bit and like he leaves us with like Luffy punching Rob Lucci and we see like, oh, Luffy's gear 5 is just that much stronger. That'd have been some bullshit. And no disrespect, it would just been a little bullshit. But to go from fucking Shanks's like one shot of Kid, because I'm going all the way back there, like introducing Blackbeard V-Law, Shanks one shooting Kid, Blackbeard and Law's fight, Garp getting introduced. We see Aokiji and Garp, and then we get all this revolutionary stuff. It's like, bro, go take a break because this shit has been crazy for 2 months straight. Like legitimately,
yeah, we've been doing well. We've been getting callbacks. We've gotten a lot of good. Like I don't know. Like my only real critique, I guess, is like the fact that we've taken a extended break from Egghead, which don't get me wrong, it's all been gas. I'm fine with it. But it does make the Egghead arc, I feel a little bit more disjointed, because it's basically half Egghead, half like Reverie 2. And don't get me wrong, everyone loves Reverie, but
I look at it as like Egghead and then world events. Like, what is the world doing? The world's response to like Wano, Luffy becoming a Yonko, and all of that. I view it as I get what you're saying in Reverie 2.
I hope the end of Egghead proper lands well, because if it doesn't, it's going to feel like kind of a letdown after all this gas outside of Egghead. And then the last thing I want to do is be like, man, then we had to go back to Egghead for like 10 chapters and it was kind of mid.
See, the only reason why I don't think Egghead will fail is because we have one of these. And, if you didn't read chapter 1086, I don't know why you're watching this, but I'm going to start spoiling now. When we got like, one of these warrior gods out here, my boy, my man Saturn, who's like the god of, I think, agriculture. Let's see. No, he's the
war
science god. Yeah, the war science god. So with him there, shit's gonna go crazy, and we know he has a different form. So like that, he might bust that out. We'll see. But Jazz, if you got anything about 1084 universe, and y'all say your 1084 piece, quickly, so we can get to 1085. That gas.
Well, the first thing I have to say about 1084 is that like. This does like even though it's a setup chapter, I feel like it's a setup for an even bigger event than what happened here because they talk about once the Grand Fleet is created, and then it talks about a great incident that will involve the Grand Fleet. I feel like this is the incident because
you think
Sabaody happened, and Luffy was already infamous before Sabaody, but Luffy attacked a celestial dragon, which is like a big no-no in terms of like world rules. So the fact that people aligned with Luffy basically like tried to murder a celestial dragon. That's a pretty that's a pretty huge deal. So I feel like this is the incident that they're talking about. If it's not, I genuinely don't know what would be bigger than this,
Only reason why I'm gonna be devil's advocate because I think it's gonna be with more of them. I don't think it'll just be like what I'm saying. Like I think Hyrudine's gonna be there. I think the squad's gonna be there. But to your point, like what else could be bigger than this? That is fair.
Yeah, I don't think. And
don't worry. Let me just say this: don't worry about the Lily stuff because all of that's gonna be talked about when we talk about 1085. I just meant like the non-Gorosei stuff if y'all want to talk about.
Yeah, I agree with Jazz. I don't think that there's much in the world of One Piece that's supposed to be a bigger taboo. Again, we think it's not as big a deal because One Piece, because Luffy did that forever ago. So it's pre-time.
It's pretty huge because of the ramifications of what happened after to like the guy that like let them niggas do that.
Yeah, I was getting to that, but also, and it's because they literally said, basically Straw Hat Grand Feet stepping in, so like they literally, you really should be thinking of it kind of almost like an ISIS hit, like whenever a bit of terrorism happens and then somebody claims credit for it, they pretty much threw down the Straw Hat Jolly Roger before then basically declaring war on the world neurables a second time. So yeah, but ultimately that's like
Mulesguard should not have said he'd take full responsibility for that shit.
I mean, it's noble, I have to
super noble.
I have to give him credit, man.
Mulesguard the best celestial dragon they got.
Hey man, the Don Quixotes, Doflamingo really the only bad apple. The Don Quixotes are actually kind of nice people.
Homing wasn't a bad. Well, the ones we met, Homing.
The original ones might have been.
We don't know about them niggas that was chilling with with them other niggas. Yeah.
So, hey, but shout out to the 3 good Don Quixotes, man.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Mulesguard whenever we get to the end of Phoenix 26. But I just want to say, keep in mind, Cobra, Mulesguard, and also T-Bone, like, we're getting rid of some of the exceptional people.
We are.
For some of the factions, like, and we're getting down into the nitty gritty of like.
Also, we're seeing it as like
and the bads.
Facts, and also we're seeing it as like the new generation is here to Luffy. You have Vivi, you got Kobe, you have like the people who are going to make the change in the world. And I wonder if Oda's commentary is, the old generation's got to go for the new generation to slide in. It seems like, because to Verson's point, it's like we're getting rid of all the old good people who, this is going to sound harsh, but it is true, who kind of stood around and let them do all the shit that they've done. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that Nefeltari, Cobra, or like Mulesguard could have stopped any of this shit or any of this Gorosei shit, but, they benefited from the system. Whereas I feel Luffy, Vivi, and all these new lights or these new dawns won't just sit around and let this shit happen.
Yeah. Also, and to your point with that, sorry to cut you off, but I'm just going to point out, Mulesguard only became a good person after the.
Because he met the fishman.
And granted, that's not me condemning him. That's just me saying, like, it took a lot of work for him to get where he is now. And T-Bone was a good guy despite being a Marine more than anything. Yep. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't about the efficiency of the mission. He was about taking care of the people and the crew. He was not what we call an A-list Marine, he's
not Fujitora.
No, he wasn't like the king of efficiency. He was basically the polar opposite of CP9, who we get introduced the same time we meet him, who are all efficiency all day. If somebody sees something they shouldn't, we're killing them and their whole family, to make sure the secrets don't get out.
And you had something to say before we
and then Cobra being the one good king.
So. Yeah, I feel like it's also like just like kind of timing wise too. Like it's not like I don't feel like they could have done anything, but like a lot of things have to like line up for them to do stuff. So like you have like Cobra, because I mean obviously Luffy MC, but it's like if Luffy never like imprinted upon Cobra, and
this might not have happened.
Cobra didn't have the interactions he did with Nico Robin at the time when Crocodile was basically trying to mess up his country. Cobra wouldn't have the gears wouldn't have started turning in Cobra's head, and then he wouldn't have ever gone to look for the knowledge of the
letters of Lily,
you know what I'm saying,
and learning all this stuff.
Right, but then it's also like you have you have Poseidon born at this time, so I feel like they have
you got Poseidon, fighting, but it's and Luffy, and honestly, for Momo to come from the future and be young to be here at this time, it really just worked out well. But to that point, it's like Roger said he couldn't do anything at the time, and y'all know I have a thing about Shanks. Why Shanks didn't do anything is because he's doing Roger's mission, and it's like it's not his place or it's not his time to do something. And to that point, that's why I'm not saying Mulesguard, Nefertari, Cobra, these people are bad. It's just it's time for the people who are gonna do shit to do shit. You old niggas get out the way,
right? Because even if it was the Roger pirates that knew about everything that happened. They don't have any of the ancient weapons. They don't. I mean, from as far as our knowledge, they don't really know about the gum fruit. So it's like those are two very big variables that they already don't have to do that. So that's that's why I really said like you might come to a different answer because all those puzzle pieces are in place.
Yeah.
And not just that, but yeah, I was gonna bring that up too. Really was like y'all have had a completely different. You've been to the same islands, but y'all have had a completely different adventure that we've had. You have different people than we had. I mean, the Roger Pirates were not known for, they didn't have someone like Robin on the crew. You know what I mean? They
No,
had
yeah.
Odin. They had Odin to read
Right.
it, but Odin's a warrior and like a traveling like prince.
Yeah.
Different like lifestyle, different idea. Like,
And they were older when they found this. Like Luffy and
yeah,
them, like we talked about yesterday, Nardine. He said this has been 3 months pre like Marineford, bro. Like these dudes are young, moving at a fast pace, whereas Roger and them were at the tail end of their journey. So even if they were ready, if they could have done something, maybe it wouldn't have been best too because they don't have that youthful vigor to make real change.
Roger went out there knowing he was more or less he was at the end of his rope.
Exactly.
Right.
He wanted one last good ass mission. He knew that he was at the end of his rope, which also might be part of it being like, it could be as simple as I could start this, but like literally the time to prep.
They won't finish, yeah.
I won't be able to see it through.
Mm-hmm. So with all of that being said, all right, let's get to that hot fire. We're not going to do the brief summary until we get to 1086, but basically 1085 and part of 1084 is us, learning about Emu, learning about, Cobra telling Emu about Lily, Queen Lily. We're learning that Lily was one of Lily D Nefeltari. We learned that some of the Nefeltaris are D's. And, we see Sabo attacking the Gorosei. We see the Gorosei's like crazy forms and shit. I'm trying to think of some other shit we see in this room. Basically, he explains to Cobra, like, what's been going down. Like, yeah, nigga, I'm the king. This type of shit.
Also, we got the rise of Sad Boy.
Yep.
Yeah.
The rise of Sad Boy, and apparently there's a glory hole to the Phantom Room.
Yeah. Oh, poor fucking Wapol. Like, talk about the conversation you just didn't want to hear, bro. Like, holy shit. That shit is crazy.
Also, I have a question, right? So they have to clean this room, right? If Emu's if Emu wants it up to standards. So like what happens like if a janitor accidentally sees Emu? Do they just get off too?
I assume that like job. People like the security dudes know who he is.
Yeah, the knights the knights say people have been disappearing. Which if anything leads me to that Emu's been getting sloppy in their old age.
Probably
been accidentally letting Randy see him or something. The observation hockey ain't hit him like he used to. And just fucking disappearing fucking onion knights, dude.
He also talks about that the poneglyphs, that they were a mistake, that like Lily delivered. If Lily doesn't make that tragic mistakes, then none of y'all would have been able to find any of this shit, and it was deliberate, and that this is all of Lily D Nefeltari's plan set in motion. Shout out to her.
It was nice to see Emu wild out. I didn't know that was a thing they were capable of. Just being like, yeah, fuck it. Lily, you fucked me from 800 years ago, and I'm about to kill your great whatever grandson over it.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids. That's the
vibes
I'm getting.
You meddling D's.
I say, let me correct myself. Your great grand nephew, because that was also something that we learned. The fact that Lily is not actually like, she's not the grandma of the great whatever grandma of fucking Cobra, and then Vivi. That's her little brother took over, and that's where that line continued.
True.
And Lily got trapped somewhere, probably at Amazon Lily. Let's just keep it real. So
that is a theory we've been seeing going around. I wouldn't be mad at that. Also, the fact of Cobra being like, yo, if I lie, will I escape? And it's like, nigga, once you saw Emu, it was over with. You gone, boy. The Black Arrow thing is so interesting that shot him. Like, I'm so interested in what that is. I have a theory for that. I think that's a separate video. But I told Jazz my theory for that, and I like it.
Hell yeah.
And I'll say the thing that leads credence to me about her being trapped on Amazon Lily is that they carved the name Lily on the fucking on the side of the mountain. Like if it was just called that parochially, it'd be whatever, but they basically carved Mount Rushmore into the side of their island. So at that point, I'm just like, I don't think you just do that unless you're commemorating someone.
That is fair. No,
I think the commemoration.
It's a good theory. I'm with it.
I think the commemoration to Lily probably happened before it was even properly named Amazon Lily, and then eventually people are like, well, the words Amazon Lily are on it, so the island kind of named itself.
Right.
And then also with Wappo just seeing shit. Poor Wappo, he saw not only emo, but he saw the Gorsei's true forms, which are like the fucking silhouetted monsters that they are. And also, the fact that just goes into my theory of, what Emu is, the fact that whatever Emu shot at Sabo actually hurt him and did damage to where it didn't like just go through his Logia body. So, that could be, in the world, we know it could be Hockey, it could be Sea Stone, which I'm leaning, I hope it's Sea Stone, but whatever it is, that actually did real damage to Sabo to where his eyes went white. So it's like, bro.
Yeah,
it's like,
he was doing some real shit.
I want to believe it's an arrow, but like it looks too much like a devil's tail.
I might as well do it. So my theory, I'll tell you first. I might as well say it now. My theory is that Emu, so we've seen a bunch of different like dragons. We've seen a lot of, Eastern dragons. But the thing with Western dragons are they're smart, they talk, their scales can be made of like anything in mythology. What if this is Emu's a Western dragon that ate like the original human fruit? And like that spike thing that he's shooting is his tail. What if his scales are sea stone of some sort? I like even Jazz's idea of a devil. He's some form of creature. And then when he got mad, his eyes did like this, the up motion of like a reptile form. Whatever it is, Emu's a very interesting cat.
Yeah. I'm kind of into that. Especially, with my D&D background, I know a lot about different dragons.
You know about Western dragon? Exactly, bro. That's what I'm saying. Their tails look like that.
It also would make sense, like in part, like granted, I don't think Sabo would ever have been allowed to like hurt Emu at this point. But also, I mean, dragons pretty much immune.
Also, the hoof,
to fire.
The hoof, the symbol of a celestial dragon is a Western dragon hoof.
Yeah, it does make me wonder why almost every other dragon in One Piece is destroyed to the point where Vegapunk was asked to make new ones.
Right.
And it also, again, like once we learn more about the Gorosei and stuff, it also kind of like makes you like, again, the whole Lunarian thing, how they used to live here and all that, like there's just a lot of stuff going on about like, how did y'all besiege the Lunarians to start this?
For sure. Like, was it dragons fighting them? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, did they have like an arm? And were those dragons created on God Valley? Is that a situation that could have been?
Or did you lose the ancient weapon because you tried to use it on them and it mostly succeeded, but they managed to like clip its wings, as it were, before they,
Also, wait, now that you say that, seeing Emu eat fire, maybe that's how they took out the Lunarians, because it seems like that's like their main
if it was like a hard counter.
And then look at his mouth too, like in this situation of like, dude's mouth is all monstery, you know what I'm saying? Like eating that fire,
Yeah,
it kind of looks like one of you know who it looks like? It looks like one of Noctis' demons from Black Clover.
He does. He really does.
If that eye ends up being red in the coloration, like especially during that evil flex moment, I think because dragons have red eyes in One Piece, or at least the ones we're familiar with. So again, like you said, but those are mostly Eastern. So
that's why I'm thinking it's Western dragon or some reptile of some sort. Also because his eyes did like the reptile up his, like Jazz said, him eating fire. He also could be like Satan. Like that's also possible too.
Just the devil.
He
also
got,
like Also like a lot of this, like I mean I know it's manga and we're probably not gonna hear Emu's voice actor for a minute, but like a lot of this I feel is going to feel fuller when we get like the tone of their voice, because like sometimes
that delivery.
I'm not saying I'm not saying like Emu has like a stupid silly voice. Like obviously they have a voice that like demands respect, but it's like what kind of, the tone seems like mad eerie, but that might not be like
it feels kind of flat.
Conveyed.
And also they only refer to themselves in the third person.
Right.
They never say I. They just shorten it to Mu. It says, basically like saying like this one, et cetera,
And we got Emu's clan, like the Nero, it's something.
All right, people were saying that. I think people jumped the gun a little bit. Did they say Emu Nerona in it?
Let me see, which one is it? Which is that 86?
That's 86.
I assume it's 80.
Emu of Nerone.
Let's see. Let me check 86.
Yeah, Saint.
Yeah, because I saw that in the spoilers. I thought.
Yeah, it says Saint Emu of House Nerona.
Oh, sorry to jump ahead, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
say
yeah,
Yvonne.
yeah. That's Ivankov talking about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, I mean, we gotta wait for the official, but like, if it is that, like, it could also represent, Nero. He could also represent Nero, that type of shit.
God damn it, you guys know who the current big bad of your D&D campaign is.
Look, man, that just gotta, y'all share like a little hive mind.
Tell me. Sometimes do you like get like a little gust of wind in your room? That's probably Oda's editors looking at your D&D script.
Anything y'all got else from 1085 before we jump to 1086?
There's one thing.
I will say it's very funny that Walpole's important.
Yeah, I like it.
It's that blood-soaked capitalist bastard.
Yeah, that's what he gets.
Accidentally saved Vivi. All right, dude.
All we need is for Kureha to somehow get back in this story. And then
I mean, look. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Kureha looks like that nigga at the end of the next chapter that we about to talk about. I would not be surprised if that's Kureha's brother. if we gonna really want to talk, and she, she's one of them. Because think about who was the first person to bring up the D in the entire story.
Yeah,
it was Kureha.
And her and Herlock are the first people to talk about hockey too.
True.
Like she literally is like, "You guys want to know the secret to my long life?" And we know that hockey help. Like if you do hockey well enough, it helps slow down your age as long as you keep up with it. And Herlock's literally the first person to talk about observation, like almost by name, observation conquers
like
armament.
She looks just like that nigga Garling. We gonna get to that, yeah.
And also Herlock has been to the island where fucking Roger and Whitebeard said their goodbyes, the soccer island.
True.
So those two, and they knew about each other. They might be like brother sister. They might have just kicked it. Like those two are more important than we fucking know.
Oh no, I believe it because think about this. Like Oda said, the story prolonged. Like originally, he didn't mean it to go this long.
Yeah.
But one of the intro, like Drum Island, was something that he originally intended. Like you can see that all the characters from Drum Island and Alabaster matter to like the main shit that we're getting to. So like I would not be surprised if they come back to matter.
Also, Kureha was at the Reverie. Remember, she was part of the Drum Kingdom coalition.
She is, you're
wearing
right.
She's wearing the 500 berry shirt.
Wait, also we forgot to. Also, it's a very small panel, but we forgot to talk about how Fujitora basically helped free the slaves.
Yeah,
him and
let my people go.
Oh, good for you, Fujitora.
Fujitora is great, but goddamn, dude, he's barely a Marine, dude. Like I know Garp's barely a Marine, but also it's like I'm glad we're getting the God Knights of only because we need more people on the Marine side who absolutely will not turn on the
Fujitora. Fujitora is like one of those employees that know he can't get fired. Like he knows he has job security.
Yeah.
So like he just kind of does whatever. He's just also,
they gave me tenure and now I don't have to give a fuck about this class anymore.
Also with 1085, good to see Vivi, get her escape with Walpole. But I think that's pretty much it. Like
also it was very funny how like all the Gorosei just in sync, just reach for the blick.
They were gonna get him
except for the sword guy.
Yeah, which naturally. But yeah, overall, like sucks that we're kind of scam over, but everyone's already read the chapters already. But
yeah,
like this 3-piece run really good. Like it's a good little 3-parter.
For sure. All right.
And
1086, baby, the 5 elder planets. Now we'll do the brief spoiling, go through each. So it starts off with us at Pangea Castle. We're seeing everyone, basically the results of 1085. The Alabaster people are looking for Cobra. Walpole and Vivi are stowaways on a ship where Morgan's gonna go pick them up at. Sabo's a stowaway on the Lucia Kingdom ship, and Bonnie's a stowaway on the Tajin Kingdom's ship. And basically, Sabo's trying to, think to live on. What Cobra told him to tell the message. We then go back inside of Pangea Castle, where we see the Gorosei talking. Imu calls him up and is like, "Bruh, it's time. Use the mother flame made by Vegapunk destroy the Lelousia kingdom. But I do think it's very interesting that this will go into a theory later that we'll talk about, but I want to point it out now. Of the only person to question Eam in the 2 times is the same one. It's the youngest person in the Gorosei, just to mention, because he's like, what's the reason for Lelousia's choosing? And Eam's like, bruh, don't ask me that shit, nigga. It's close proximity. It's my will. And they were like, all right, let's get to it. We learned the Gorosei's name, and then Eam was also like, retrieve Vivi. We then cut to Akainu, and it's like, oh, what's going on here? We then see the Seraphim that y'all wanted to see for the longest, which is Moria, Crocodile, and Doflamingo. We then cut back to Sabo, Ivankov, and Dragon talking about the Lelousia Kingdom. They go over basically the rest of what Sabo heard, and Sabo tells Dragon about what destroyed the Lelousia Kingdom. They talk about Emu, and basically they talk about Robin and the ancient weapons, and then it ends with us learning of Milsgard's death at the hand of the judge who was the former king of the land known as God Valley, aka Saint Figurlin Garling, or in America, Garling Figurlin. So where y'all want to start off at, fellas?
I think it's best if we just do it sequentially.
For sure.
And I'll just say real quick, nice color spread, good colors. I know that like Japanese Pride Month is different, but also One Piece is big in the West. And even if not, I'm gonna take my dubs where I can get them. And I think No Rain, No Rainbow is it's nice. It's a very nice phrasing to put it.
I also like the cover of Shonen Jump with Garp, Kobe, and Luffy. Shit's pretty.
Oh yeah, that was great. Also, I maintain that Jinbei is the one holding the camera, like the dad that he is. And fucking Zoro is just, can't find him. Weird.
So I'm gonna say Zoro's taking the picture, and Jinbei's ass is sleeping.
No, Jinbei is a civil rights leader. Shout
out to Zoro, man. You Zoro fans out there, I'm gonna hold it down for y'all with these biased asses.
No, Zoro just got lost at the parade route.
Right? You saw what Zoro did to King, man. He would definitely look at like people with pride flags and be like, "Oh, I'm not into that."
I'm gonna let y'all do that to him, man. That's not the case. No, sir. No,
I mean, I will say unironically, I think Zoro's more interested in swords than any physical person. I think if anything, Zoro's sword sexual. That's all he cares about.
Right, I can believe that. My man taking a picture. But all right, let's start in the beginning. Sucks for old pal and old boy looking for Vivi and Cobra, because Cobra's dead.
Yeah.
Sucks, homie. That guy's gonzo.
It does make me wonder if they were detained at Marijoa. Because we don't see them get off, and why would they? Vivi's gone and Cobra's gone.
And it's like, yeah, they would definitely be questioning things to the point to where it's like, we're gonna lock y'all ass up, bro. Stop talking.
Because
that might be why Pell's in bird form. That way he can
fly away.
Yeah. Because then it's like they the higher ups don't know that like they don't have that information, but they're not about to take that chance that they don't have that information.
And also, shout out Big News Morgan. A story matters more than anything. Where y'all at? I'm coming get y'all.
He said, "I need these." He said, "I need these interactions.
I need these deets, my boy. This is juicy."
Yeah. Morgan's is on his WikiLeaks shit. He's like, "I'm a sovereign citizen now. Ain't no one gonna touch me. I got 10,000 fucking new scoop flying my ship." It is kind of amazing that the world government lets that fly. Literally lets that fly.
Well, they didn't. They started to stop when they sent that dude there, but Morgan's whooped his ass.
No, I know, but I'm talking about the fact that the new scoop's a flying machine.
Oh yeah,
they don't let that shit fly anywhere else in the world. The only one who comes kind of close is the German snails that let them go over the red line.
Yeah. That just shows how much power Morgan's has. Also, fuck Stelly's bitch ass getting horny over Vivi. It's just a little tiny panel.
Yeah, I know, but not on your. Oh, and homie's there, fucking tall mask motherfucker.
Yeah, he is the tall CP0 guy.
We still don't know who
it is.
I don't know if I noticed Spondum's there.
No, I noticed.
Spondum's in the panel next to him.
I'm trying
like a piece of shit.
I'm trying not to give him you know what I'm saying.
Also, we see what happened to Bonnie, how she got away. Now we're connecting those dots, and then Sabo's ass.
Real quick, he's not important. I don't want to put too much time on it, but did they take away Funk Freed? I
Yeah,
don't see Funkfried on his waist. That's kind of sad. That's his elephant, dude.
That's good for him. He deserves that after trying to buster
I
call
mean, yeah,
people.
I just hope Funkfried's safe somewhere, is all.
Fair.
He said, "We're taking your elephant sword. Just use a gun from now
Yeah,
on.
you
You don't
pussy.
deserve that sword
Yeah.
anymore."
Vegapunk taught us how to feed devil fruits. We gave you one because we thought you were hot shit, and then you ended up ruining us.
But yeah,
How dare you?
we get to the Gorosei thing. I truly think Saint Jupiter, the young one, and also when you know about the story of like Nero in like Roman times of how he killed Saint Peter, Saint Jupiter, I think that dude's gonna question some emu shit and his ass is gonna get bow bow because he's the youngest one too. That's my theory. And I'm running.
I have conflicting things because he's Jupiter, which is Zeus in Greek mythology.
True.
And don't get me wrong, like Zeus tried to overthrow Cronus, but also Zeus is a fucking fuckboy in a lot of stories in Greek.
But think about like even that, like Zeus, the younger brother, tried to overthrow. He looks like the youngest one. Like a lot of that shit's look, bro. I think that
but then he repeated like every single one of Cronus's mistakes.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think Jupiter's gonna get in charge. I'm not saying that. I think his ass is gonna get capped.
Sanji still needs to beat his ass down though. I do maintain, because as we know, Sanji literally was supposed to Judge was supposed to have been a celestial dragon, and as we know,
he might be related to him.
Yeah, like it might literally be almost like Vivi with Lily, where it's like, there's a split. His family went one way, mine went the other. I was his uncle. And my uncle like pulled a homing and got his ass kicked out. So now the Venice Smokes are mortal again. And then Peter are
and look, Ethan Baron v Nusujuro. It says Juro in the end, like only one with a sword. Homie's got to be tied to Wano in some form or fashion. Like,
oh yeah.
Seems very Wano-esque.
Yeah, at the very least, he went there at some point and bought the fucking Saijo.
Ojo, Uno, fucking Katetsu, number one Katetsu, baby. But the others, I have no theories about, Gorbachev or the other homie or the dude we're with, Saturn. I just think it's interesting that each of them, represents an original 5 planet that, orbit around the Earth, aka Emu, and we're getting to a heliocentric time, with Luffy being the sun. Ready for all of that.
Yeah. I like that. Man, how are we gonna get to the end of One Piece? And one of the guys that we've been hyping up because he's the only one who knew for a fact was kind of a fighter with the boy Samurai Gandhi, and then my man's name is Ethan.
Ethan, bro.
Y'all ever thought that
threw me off? That threw me off so bad because like,
but it's okay because I'm telling you the Nusujuro. That's what made me be okay with Ethan.
I mean, I'm not against. Also, the blue part is weird, but listen, I'm not against any of it. But also, it's like, oh, you're stretching a little bit. I gotta wait for the officials on some of these, but. Fucking Marky Mark and fucking Top Man.
Marcus Mars,
Gear
baby.
7 Top Man? Gear 7, he's giving me Top Man?
I kind of fuck with all their names.
I ain't gonna lie.
No, I think they're fine. They're very funny.
Look,
they're very One Piece.
I ain't gonna lie. Weird. I'm not calling that man Top Man. I'm calling him Road Man. I'm calling him he the Road Man.
That's the Road Man, bro. Gorbachev. I'm still just gonna call him Gorbachev. That's what he's known to me for fucking.
I ain't gonna lie. Gorbachev is a harder name. Like it's harder. Like
it's not, dude. Gorbachev. Come on.
Also, fucking the young one has a scar. I'm just letting y'all know, man. That young something going on with that young nigga, bro.
I will say, I think it's very funny that Zoro, who doesn't seem to understand the concept of a dollar, is gonna have to end up fighting the fucking finance minister, probably in a bank or something.
Oh yeah, do we think what they're gods of, matter? I mean, we can talk about that right now if y'all want.
I think it matters for theming.
Any early theories before we do our separate video?
I would only say the only theory that like I would even have is like the defense science god and Vegapunk.
Yeah, because he's the one that's going there. Yeah.
And even when you talk about what they're gonna mention like later, one of Vegapunk's creations, I am of the idea that Vegapunk genuinely did not create this to destroy things.
You think
but
he might
I
have
do
altered
believe, I think he might be smart enough to alter it. Not Vegapunk smart, but at least smart enough to turn what could have been an energy source into basically a Death Star.
Yeah, sure. like I mean,
they're all warrior gods too. At the end of the day, like that that tells me they can fight plus their title, you know?
Yeah. I'm just gonna go down the road real quick. So yeah, defense science, I think that's probably the person who's in charge of making sure the One Piece world kind of stagnates and stays relative, except for Vegapunk. Also, yeah, I think he's smart enough at this point. If he's anywhere near as close to age as Ym is, or at the very least, if he's been taught from a young age that this is going to be your role, I think he knows how to dabble. I mean, Frankie can do shit not quite on Vegapunk's level, but
True.
like I think if you got an immoral Frankie and got him like a broken piece
look
of
at
Vegapunk tech,
Lindbergh. Lindbergh does shit too. Like we've seen multiple scientists in this world, not on Vegapunk level, but can make some crazy shit.
And none of them had resources like Vegapunk or this guy, because I'm sure
True.
this guy, if he wanted it, probably wouldn't get the same amount as Vegapunk. But you know, like no one's gonna tell him no if he wants like some.
Oh no, dude can do whatever he wants.
Fucking environmental warrior god, one that I don't think a lot of people talk about.
I think you're gonna hate him. I feel like you're gonna hate that guy.
See, for me, it's either extraction or it's terraforming. I've not heard anyone else use the term terraforming. I think that's why we have some of these weird science islands that are like the island of infinite lightning.
What if he's the dude who made the red line?
That also might be the case, yeah. Like I think he terraforms, in which case he might have like some constant pullers like ores somewhere.
Yeah, possible.
That'd be hard.
Justice Warrior, probably just the guy in charge of CP0. And
he's the dude when they first talked about the cleansing. He was like, "Do you think we need another cleansing type shit?" And he's the one who talked to Akainu, so he might be, you know, the liaison to the.
I think he's the go man, yeah, for like the military forces, like broadly. Finance minister, kind of. It's interesting that the most obvious warrior one is him, because that in agriculture, which we'll get to, are kind of usually like pushed to the side in a lot of fantasy. But as we know, especially if you watch Game of Thrones with Tyrion, Master of Coin, that's where a lot of the fucking power is. True. Like he probably is able to like manipulate the other four at least a little bit, because ultimately he's the one who runs the budget. You know, and I do think it's funny, again, maybe even have an interaction with Zoro and be like, oh, all right, let's talk about the Straw Hats taxes and how much fucking tithing you owe. You know, like I think that might be a funny little bit. And then finally we have Shepherd Jupiter of agriculture. I think he's probably one who's like in charge of like making sure that the actual tithing goes through, making sure that Marajota is protected whenever it comes to their food, because as we know, the food reserves just got shellacked. So that's about to be a desperate thing. And I think he's also probably the one who, like, not that the Gorosei have a public face, but also, like you said, he's the youngest one. He's probably the one who's meant to convey to the rest of the world what the other four also do, but they don't show up to shit. You know?
Yeah, I can believe it.
Yeah.
I can definitely believe it.
I could see him being kind of like, this is the young, sexy face. He runs agriculture. He's supposed to be like what we want the world to think the Gorosei do. And the rest of us what it actually does.
Kid Crocodile looks like a girl. I'm gonna just say that. I'm just gonna say
also,
that here.
Fucking stoic as shit.
Yeah. So like maybe Ivankov did do the gender surgery on him.
Yeah, but I also
could just be
on her.
Yeah,
could be. But I mean, what was that secret Ivankov? Like, you know, only reason why I say that is because Ivankov in Impel Down was like,
well, no,
I know you.
I talked to one of my homies about this the other day. And you know, there's a point that when you see the Roger flashback, or you really see any flashback with the other warlords, we see Crocodile from the back, and everybody else we see their faces
from the front.
Like, we even see Dragon's face, like in the Roger flashback.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if Ivankov did do that, bro? That's all I'm saying. But
also,
for sure,
they didn't need to create, like, look, I wanted to see S Flamingo, but now I see him, I'm like, there doesn't need to be two Doflamingos in the world.
Hey, real talk, S Moria might be the strongest one, because Moria just didn't know how to use his fruit, but like
he got complacent.
Like, think about this. All Kid Moria has to do is take a shadow of like a powerful swordsman, and boom, he knows like the best sword techniques. Like, I feel like the S Moria could be the strongest one.
I do have something that I've been meaning to look it up, and I just looked it up. So we got all the crocodiles. Well, we got all the original warlords whenever they were younger and how they looked. Obviously, goes without saying, and I just want to make sure. So Crocodile does look a lot like how they looked whenever they were young, except Crocodile when they were young obviously didn't have the scar across their face, which this Crocodile clearly does. I think it's working off a genetic pattern of whenever they got their DNA samples, which means that, well, not necessarily old, but like hormones actually do change your DNA and it changes your body, especially if Eva is the one doing it. So like this Crocodile might be off the basis of post transition, if Crocodile ever did. transition, because like the scar is there for no reason other than just to make it recognizable. And with hormones being that, like they probably would have copied the level of like testosterone and everything instead of Crocodile. But that being said, yeah, I will agree. Obviously, Crocodile has always been kind of like,
or if it's
kind
just
of
DNA,
purposely,
like if it's just DNA
yeah,
that they did, then
right.
they might not have the effects of the devil fruit. Either way, it's like
yeah. But no, yeah,
interesting.
Crocodile is ambiguous. Also, like I said, me and my partner watched Marineford. Crocodile doesn't start helping until like the Marines one overstep and two, Luffy's confirmed Roger's son, and Crocodile's like, I actually kind of like Luffy. I'll save his ass.
Oh no, Ace.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Crocodile only switches up at the very, very end because otherwise he was being a fucking nuisance the whole time.
For sure. And then we get Sabo talking to Dragon and
Oh,
Eva.
real quick. So do you guys think this kind of confirms that it's just the original seven then? Because if there were more,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I know y'all wanted Kid Buggy. That's not happening.
Well, also Kid Weevil and
you
yeah.
Buggy
we only
lovers.
look. All I wanted was the 7 and Buggy.
That's
it's
not
still
happening.
I think
a possibility.
I'm not gonna lie. Like if there's gonna
possibility.
be, if there's gonna be one who
It's not
isn't,
happening.
dude, if there's gonna be one who isn't one of the OG7, it is going to be Buggy.
Give me Kid Law, baby.
We already got Kid and Law. We don't need Kid Law.
Yeah, I prefer Kid Law to Kid Buggy. Get that clown out of
Buggy
here.
needs a son.
You gotta understand. Oda would literally give anything for a joke.
Oh, I know, but if I'm gonna take a stance of anti-Buggy. That's gonna be my bias.
Man, you anti the real
you
pirate
anti-fun.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm
damn,
anti.
Dude, no wonder you stand who you do. That's amazing. Like, dude, that's Shank's nephew you're talking about right there. All right,
Team
like
Shanks, baby.
I say Kid Buggy is basically like, that's Shanks' nephew. Why you
I look, I rock with the real Shanks. Team Shanks, baby, all the way. But
yeah, all right,
also,
let's go. Let's read this and talk about his fucking daddy while we're at it.
I love seeing Eva talking about the Api no Mi surgery on Emu. That's something to think about. Also, might as well point it out. If he got it, who's to say the Gorosei? When you get chosen to be a Gorosei, you get it too.
Oh, I would also.
Which is why each one's a different age in where they are type situation.
I also want to point out, because I don't think we really mentioned it, but since we're getting back into it, because they're talking about Lucia, I know that Eames said it because it was close. I have my own pet reason for that. What do you guys think? Because that goes to tell us that maybe they had a suspicion that Sabo will be there, but they didn't have it hard confirmed. I have my own theory, but I want to hear what you guys have to say about that first. Since now we're getting into the mother
conversation. Yeah, no, I just assume it's because he has future sight and he saw Sabo going there. But that that's the only thing I could come up with at the time. I was too busy worrying about the Gorosei being immortal. Like I was just like, oh yeah, Sabo has future sight. I mean, Emu has future sight and saw.
But do you
Sabo
also think it's because like it's a nation of vampires? Not only is it a nation of vampires, but it was also a nation of vampires that was actively revolting against the government.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, obviously it's an example.
But are they real vampires?
I believe so.
They're supposed to be at least like Transylvania. Like
yeah.
The king's got the king's got the key.
But like, vampires nonetheless.
Well, also, well, you say that, but like, fuck, what the fuck's Gecko Moria? That's not a human. That's that's not a dude.
But I don't know. He's not blood sucking though. I
don't know. I don't even know what to call most humans in One Piece. They be borderline. Like Big Mom and Whitebeard aren't humans.
They're freaks. They're just freaks.
Oda just like drawing whatever he likes to draw.
God bless him.
Some aesthetic shit. What you think? What's your pet reason?
I think he said, one, because I think he did have a reasonable idea that Sabo might be there, but I also think they chose a island that he could see from on top of Marijola.
Okay.
I think in part it was because he wanted to see he wanted to be able to see the test from the safety of his own home and see it fucking like function.
Also, the fact that we learned it's not an ancient weapon is huge because thought that was Uranus, and it's like, oh no. I mean, they said it's Vegapunk's creation,
but Vegapunk would never make something like that.
I know, but like it could be something like we said where the signs got altered. I'm gonna take it for what it says. I'm not gonna just I'm not gonna just think it's Uranus.
I'm on the idea of that. it was either an energy source that Vegapunk created that was turned into, a weapon for violence, or it was a counter to the actual Uranus, like how Frankie had the
Possible.
blueprints to Pluton in Water 7.
I
See,
can rock with that.
I could dig that, especially because we know for a fact Vegapunk obviously is working with ancient weapon stuff like with the Golem. Which for all we know, maybe the Golem is somehow meant to be a counter for like fucking Poseidon or something. Then I don't know.
Possible. It's like ancient weapon technology. I mean, ancient technology.
But my opinion is, I think Vegapunk may have made like the power source of like the miniature sun or like the boosters, like with Punk Records. Like, I don't think Vegapunk was trying to make a weapon. I think they basically took Vegapunk parts and slapped that shit on an old busted the fuck up Uranus, in my opinion.
Okay.
And also I think part of it is the power source. I think, because like we said, I think Vegapunk wants to make infinite energy, that way no one has to worry about energy ever again. I think they probably took a failure that Vegapunk has, because that he's like a crazy perfectionist. Don't throw away a devil fruit just because it's pink instead of blue. I think they were like, oh yeah, so like it has the ability to like offset a bunch of heat, but like the reason why it doesn't work is because it overloads itself and you have to dump that heat somewhere and it could be very catastrophic for anything near it. They're like, yeah, you're right, Vegapunk, we'll just go scrap that for you. And then they just slapped that on again, old busted Uranus with the propulsion system. And it's just like, okay, cool. Like it's not actually meant to be like a weapon so much as that is a incomplete power source that is venting heat. But whenever you have the kind of mind that isn't like Vegapunk, which is very naive and kind of childish, you're like, oh yeah, this is like a free nuke because I just got to dump vented heat on top of an island, and as long as I'm directly over it, it'll fucking destroy it.
I like that theory.
Whereas Vegapunk is just, like, he's so naive, he never thought that anyone would want to like turn a basically fucked up battery into a nuke. He just sees it as a fucked up battery.
Any way that it slices, we got 3 options. We'll see which one happens, and I'm excited to see it though, nonetheless. And then you get the whole Eva talking about Emu, how heard of that name before. Boss Sant Emu of House Nerona. Okay, getting the first 20 houses together like that. And then you ended with seeing my man Garling, baby. I like Garling. Love that he's a moon. Love that.
Yeah, I like that we have someone who's like in One Piece style, kind of like a weirdo, but also pretty intimidating and interesting.
Yeah, he looks pretty badass. I will say, like, even though Oda got his weird hair off, but he was like, I can't make the leader of the Holy Knights the former king of God Valley, which I think is so interesting. Of him being the former king of God Valley, with him being a figureling, and Shanks, from what we know from Film Red and all the booklets and stuff, being a figureling, and then potentially being found on God Valley. That's interesting.
Also, his name is giving crazy Final Fantasy vibe. Like,
yeah,
Garlean is like the main villain of like Final Fantasy 14.
His fucking look is giving Final Fantasy vibes with it. Like,
I like how his sword looks a little busted too. Like, it's a little rough. I dig it.
You talking about at the hilt? Because
it's a little busted. It's super wrapped, and it's got like the cross piece that looks welded onto it.
So wait, he's sitting in a chair. That's a chair. Never mind. I was like, is that an attachment to? No, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he's cross-legged. He's cross-legged, holding onto a sword. I know that has to be uncomfortable, but he makes.
He's ready to strike, and that goes to show you this dude is ready to strike at any fucking moment. And he said his first words is, anyone who protects scum is lower than the scum they protect.
But see,
so to Verson's point, this nigga not switching. Like,
if
Fujitora may switch, this guy ain't switching.
So if the Gorsei are all named after planets, and we can assume that if it's like, if this is the model that they're following is geocentric, then shouldn't most of the God Knights represent moons?
Essentially,
in this sense,
for the 5 planets, I mean, for the most part,
and like asteroids and stuff, because it's anything that can reflect light and be seen in a telescope, basically. So that's also comets, which we haven't seen anyone with a comet motif yet, to my knowledge,
which could be coming. And also, I think it's very interesting that they kind of you can't see the full cross, but I mean, Mizgar got crucified.
Yeah. Also, I'm just going to talk more about this dude real quick. This is a man who fucking probably has like a piece of shit sword that he made legendary. He made, like, I can feel it. He made that sword black. I have the theory that a lot of people have, which is pretty sure he's the one who gave Whitebeard those scars later in life. Like probably because
the
Whitebeard was doing shit at God Valley.
and why when he saw Shanks, he was like, I felt that scar, but it's not from
Mhm.
Roger, it's from
No,
your real family partner.
Mhm.
But also, like the former king of God
That's my
Valley
favorite
is
theory
the
of yours.
like I
Versus.
was
I like
not.
that theory a lot.
Yeah, I was not expecting. I was not
For him to be a
expecting
king,
that
yeah, me
drop.
neither. I did not
Especially,
expect
especially the king of God Valley.
like the fact that he's a figureland, but then you drop King of God Valley with that. That
And
just
then
adds
Shanks was found in a treasure chest that the
just adds
Roger Pirates picked up,
so
probably
much
around God
implications.
Valley.
My question is, did he help Roger and Garp fight Rocks? Was he a part of this?
I think he was fighting anyone who got close to the Celestial Dragons.
Yeah.
Like, because, like, again, if anything, I think maybe him and Whitebeard squared up before Whitebeard changed sides. And then that's why he sought him out later and was like, hey, motherfucker, guess what? We're old now. But I remember that. So I'm going to give you one. And then he got him like 3 times in the chest.
Well, wait, that's kind of crazy. So that would mean that because Garp was protecting. Well, okay, Garp mainly was protecting celestial dragons that day.
And
so
that's
that
what made him kind of stop. That's what made him say, fuck that.
So
yeah, I think this guy is responsible for why Garp
is
like soured on the entirety of, and why he'll never be a it's also
admiral.
why he'll never be an admiral, because he's like, oh yeah, because then I'm gonna have to like prove Figureland right, and I'm gonna have to take orders from Figureland. Fuck that, never.
And this is like anti-Garp. Like literally, the first thing he says is anyone who protects scum is lower than the scum they protect. That is anti-Garp to the fullest degree.
Dude, if Garp survives, I would not hate a Garp versus
Figureland.
The final old men fight.
I could get down with that. Also, if Figureland had beef with Roger, that would make it more interesting. Like, Garp and Roger being homies. But that's
also the fact that we're getting introduced to all these players around God Valley, and I'm pretty sure that there are more players in the background.
Oh yeah,
but this makes Rocks look so insane.
God Valley is the most
he stormed it.
God Valley is the most important thing now that Reverie is complete that we haven't seen. Like, more important than, I know people want to see Akainu in fucking Aokiji fight at Punk Hazard. We're not getting any of that shit. God Valley is something we have to get.
Like the most important flashbacks at this point in time is really just the Void Century and God Valley.
Like, those are the two most. Like, as much as I want a dragon backstory, as much as I want some of these other things, those two things have to happen.
But the dragon backstory might even
tie into God Valley, possibly. Yeah, very, very possible.
Do you guys think that
and this will be the final question, because we're gonna make videos on God Valley and Garling and the Gorosei.
Do you guys think these guys were saints before God Valley sunk, or do you think God Valley sinking
that's a
allowed
good question.
them to become saints? And also, if they're part of the original founding families, that means they gave up. At some point they gave up. They're supposed to give up their home nation to ascend to, which means who is the king at the time then?
Unless God Valley is something that represented like
the summer home.
Yeah. Like something, a place where, like, let's say, for example, the Figurelands are the warriors of the Celestial Dragon. Let's just use that for example. Like, what if that's the place where God Knights trained, or they whipped slaves into action? Something took place there to benefit Marijois, which is why I think they were there, and they put the strongest there because that was some important shit going on.
Also, probably some atrocities, which is why Garp probably helped sink the fucking thing.
And why he was ready to dip the fuck. And also, if Dragon was a Marine, he sees that leads to the idea of, fuck these guys, I'm out of here.
Yeah, and again, shout out to the homie Mausgard. Like I said, Oda's going through and he's taken out all the exceptions to a lot of the people we've seen before.
Homie got
like all the cleanest people. Like Mausgard for a long time was one of the reasons why people said, well, not all Celestial dragons like that. Well, guess what? Mausgard tried to be a cool guy in the system. Fucking T-Bone probably let himself get killed because he realized that the Marines were not doing what they had to do. Well, there's a reason why they pretty much.
No, I get it. I'm just fucking with you.
Cobra's the one. I mean, Riku's all right too, but Cobra's the one king that you can point to who was absolutely a cool dude, and now he's gone.
Yeah, Riku is not as pure as Cobra. Cobra was
Cobra literally just got screwed over by Crocodile.
Yeah, Cobra's a step above
for sure. But yeah, man, great. I think we gave him a good hour and some change. So, like I said, we'll make separate videos on the Gorosei, on Garling, because I think there's room to dive into like all these topics separately. Jazz, tell people they can follow you on social media.
Hey, last thing before we go, I can't wait until Zoro versus Ethan happens so I can see that man do a money spread on Zoro. Ooh, yes. It's gonna be amazing. But you can follow me on Instagram at Jazzy Boy. You can follow me on Twitter, Real Jazzy Boy. You can follow you can follow me on TikTok, Cornell D. God.
Oh, and people hear this before your your DJ set if you want to tell them what time you're doing it tomorrow.
Oh yes, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, baby. We ain't got no type of genre. We just gonna vibe.
Y'all go check that out. All right, Verse, tell people they can follow you on social media.
All right, real quick, Jazz, pass the mic back to you for a second. Garland or Mihawk?
Oh my gosh, these guys. Of course he's gonna say
real quick. Come on, man. Say it before I cut you off.
Stop. Versa, tell your social media.
All I'm saying is you can't call yourself the best basketball player in the world if you ain't met Kobe or MJ.
LeBron does. Stop that. That's LeBron.
LeBron met Kobe at least.
LeBron didn't meet MJ. Dude. Go ahead, Versa. Tell your social media.
Garland is the Wilt Chamberlain of One Piece. Anyway,
horrible. He played plumbers.
Actually, Mihawk is the Wilt Chamberlain.
No, stop it. Go ahead, tell your social media.
Yeah, you're right. Garland is the Babe Ruth. Anyway, all right. They're playing two different sports out of each other's league. Anyway, fucking all right. So anyway, you can follow me at Verse in the Vassal pretty much anywhere. I didn't get a chance to announce it because we haven't had a podcast since then, but I've actually got a new job. I'm working with the Property Rights and Pipeline Center now. We're trying to stop some pipeline build out happening over and sort of like the west part of Louisiana, Lake Charles area, Vinton and stuff. So, I'm going to be active out there doing some activism work, helping make sure people get paid and helping make sure people don't lose their land. Now that being said, also I can announce that I am now officially the Southwest Louisiana DSA delegate to national. That's happening over that's going to be August 4th to the 6th. My birthday is going to be in the middle of it. I have a GoFundMe up. I will say I can probably cover most of it, and I'm usually good with my expenses. This was not something I was planning on having this year, so that's going to be like an extra $1,000 out of pocket. So help me out, whatever, $10, $5, $100 for the daddy long legs out there. Throw me a little bit of cash to help me out because I'm trying to help make DSA a more democratic place. And just to let you guys know, we have no delegates, no alternates besides me. So if I can't end up going because I can't get out there, then that means like the entirety of Southwest Louisiana is just not going to get a vote on anything that happens with that organization. So, do your civic duty. Send me to Chicago. Let me eat the pizza. Thank you.
Y'all go follow my man first and then do your civic duty. Y'all follow me at LMBLT. Follow Bros Think at Bros Who Think. A lot of good content coming out. But until then, y'all have a good one and peace.